fans, welcome back to 237, back with another review. And for this video, it's going to be of a film in a genre that I've talked about a number of times. It's one of my favorite genres uh, from one of my favorite countries, the Italian cannibal genre, uh, from my favorite Italian director, Sergio Martino, and that is Mountain of the Cannibal God, released in 1978. I believe this is his only cannibal film, but I'm a big fan of Sergio Martino. I have a number of his films. I think there's a couple horror movies that I don't have yet, but I do have all of his gialli, and I believe this is his only cannibal film. I believe the last one I talked about, as far as the Italian cannibal movie, was Antonio Margheriti's Cannibal Apocalypse. But this is one I've wanted to talk about for probably close to 2 years, because shortly after Christmas before last, I believe, I picked this up, which I found it for like $3. Only knew it as a Italian cannibal film, so it was like $3. Awesome. And I didn't know it was by Sergio Martino at the time. And it said 86 minutes, but then I looked it up. Well, I put it in and I realized it was like 93 minutes, so that was wrong. But then I found out that Slave of the Cannibal God and Mountain of the Cannibal God were the same movie, also known as Prisoner of the Cannibal God in some places, and that it was actually like 103 minutes. Now, normally, if a movie's cut by one or two minutes, I'll just go with it. But if it's cut by like nearly 10, then I'll say to hell with it, and I'll wait till I get the actual version, the uncut version. Now, I know there was a Blu-ray that was just put out by Kino Lorber. They do have great releases, but if you know me, I love my Blue Underground. So, and I found this yesterday for like $7, so I figured perfect. So yeah, I didn't even bother watching this. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that as is. Now I have the uncut version. So yeah, 93 minutes, 103. I'll definitely go with this one. So yeah, directed by Sergio Martino, who directed my favorite giallo, which is Torso. Even at a tie for my second place are his two Vice films. So I'm a big fan of Sergio Martino. I think I have 6 or 7 of his giallo films. Also movies like American Rickshaw. I also have, which is fun in a so bad as good kind of way. This was written by Martino and Cesar Frugoni, produced by his brother Lucio Martino, as was a number, if not all, of his films. Stars Ursula Andress, Stacy Keach, who I also recognize as Cameron Alexander in American History X. He was also in Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, and he's easily the best actor and character in this whole movie. But also stars Claudio Castanelli, who just prior to this was in Martino's Suspicious Death of a Minor, which is one of my lesser favorite giallos by Martino, but I still enjoyed it. And the music was done by Guido and Maurizio De Angelis. Yeah, even Wikipedia says 99 minutes, but yeah, whatever. So, and this was filmed in Sri Lanka, and it tells the story of this woman, Susan, played by Ursula Andress, and her brother, Milano. Was that his name? I don't know. No, Manolo was Claudio Castanelli, but her and her brother, Arthur. Yeah, Arthur is they're looking for her lost husband. He was on some expedition out in the New Guinea jungle, and he had disappeared. So they enlist the help of Dr. Foster, played by Stacy Keach, to go find him. This is kind of a slow burn. I mean, a lot of Italian cannibal films are. You're kind of just watching characters wander around the jungle, maybe interact with some natives. Maybe there's a jungle trap. Maybe there's an animal attack. It does fall into all of those tropes or cliches up until you get to the cannibal portion, which is usually just the third act. Uh, some of some of them, like say Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox. I still haven't seen Man from Deep River. That's the one I need to get. And I'll even say Jungle Holocaust. I think that's what people mostly think of. I'll also throw in Eaten Alive, I guess. Those are ones that seem to have a ton of cannibal activity. But the rest, they're mostly just jungle adventure films. This one definitely feels like that. But because of Martino's direction, and I'll even say the acting for the most part, especially Stacy Keach, this one definitely keeps you interested, and it feels like a good movie. Whereas other lesser cannibal films are kind of just waiting until the cannibal stuff begins. Uh, so yeah, I think this is one of the better cannibal films outside of the big name ones. And you do get some deaths along the way. I mean, there's a couple of jungle traps, like a guy steps in, the loop that pulls him up. There's like this cage with arrowheads that close around him. I won't mention the animal cruelty because even that is a lot lighter in this film. I mean, we'll see people pick up like a snake, bite into it alive, or cooking a crab alive, which is no different than what we do anyway with shellfish. But everything else with animals seems to be animals doing it to other animals. Like this long scene with the anaconda eating a monkey. I don't really see that as exploitative or animal cruelty because it is kind of nature. It is animals doing it to other animals. It's not as gratuitous as, say, Cannibal Holocaust and some of the stuff they do in that movie. Uh, some of it does feel kind of unfocused because there are some plot twists where these people going into the jungle definitely have ulterior motives, but about halfway through, they come into contact with this other tribe. That's where they meet uh, Claudio Simonetti's character. I hope I pronounced that correctly, so I don't sound stupid. Casanelli. That's where they come into Claudio Casanelli's character. Wow, I'm struggling with that. And then he kind of takes over the movie, which I felt was kind of not needed. I mean, I like him as an actor, and I like him when he pops up in these Italian films, but he doesn't really do a whole lot, except for the very, very end of the film. And yeah, spoiler alert, when Stacy Keach dies, which is closer to the third act, the movie does kind of become less of interesting up until sort of the last twist. His whole character was definitely the most interesting because her and her brother going into the jungle to find her husband, whereas Stacy Keach, Dr. Foster, he was captured at one point and held there by this cannibalistic tribe, which this tribe is suspected to be completely extinct and non-existent at this point. He believes that they're still alive, and he's taken this opportunity to help them to go and eradicate the rest of them. Whereas Claudio Casanelli is kind of the inverse of that. He's lived with this other tribe for so many years. He believes in leaving tribes in the jungle alone as is. So I think his character is just supposed to combat uh, Stacy Keach's, at least in ideas. But then you bring in that character, and he doesn't really do much. So I think it was kind of a waste of Stacy Keach's character. because again, he is the best actor and the most interesting character. And I guess to bring it up, when he dies, he goes down a waterfall, and it's obvious that it's a dummy. Some of the effects in this movie are kind of wonky, kind of dated, but I've always said those dated practical effects have a charm to them. Uh, Even when we get down to the gore scenes of the cannibals, yeah, they might not be as good as say Cannibal Holocaust, but they're it's still fun to even if it just looks like rubbery meat. Just seeing these cannibals go at it, it's still entertaining. It it would have been nice to have Stacy Keach be able to sort of be the one person to be able to get what he went to the jungle for, because spoilers again. Once they finally reach this mountain, which even the natives surrounding this mountain swear it's cursed or forbidden because of this cannibal god. Uh, when they get there, find out her and her brother actually just wanted to go there to find uranium. She does have a husband that did go missing, but it seemed like he was branching off, kind of trying to screw her. So now she doesn't really care, kind of his loss. And so they use the whole "help me find my husband" as a front. And so that's when Castanelli's character is kind of left in shock. Like I care about this jungle and the people in it, and I just helped you. But then that right at that moment, that's when her brother gets a spear, and then that's when the cannibals come in, and we get our third act. Not to say the cannibals are not present earlier in the film. They kind of show up. They kind of... I don't know if there's one on the... No, I thought there was one on the inside cover. They kind of got like this white, ashy body paint with these, I think, like dried mud hoods with teeth and bones in them to make faces. It looks kind of silly, but at the same time, at a time when a lot of these kinds of movies were coming out, it does help them stand out. Because, I mean, if you're thinking about a particular cannibal scene, it could blend in with the rest of them. So that does help it stand out a bit, even though it might look kind of silly. But you get them kind of showing up and attacking our characters in a couple scenes throughout the movie. But right when her brother gets the spear, kind of at the hour mark, then that's when we get the actual cannibal scenes. And this is where everything you expect from a cannibal movie is present. Tons of nudity of all kinds. Of course, cannibalism, whether they're eating her brother or they're eating animals like snakes. There is a very trippy scene where they offer her something. Don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that or if it's just human meat they get turned on by. But there's kind of like this orgy scene. I mean, the camera's kind of going crazy, like on this one woman who's pleasuring herself. One guy just going at a female native. Two natives, one going at this other one. And then a guy fucking a pig. This big, hairy pig. It just shows for like 2 seconds. I think it's more simulated than anything, but still, just the idea of it. Also, similar to Jungle Holocaust that would come out the following year, there is this one cannibal native that tries to assault her. Unties her off her thing, tries to assault her. Then, as penalty, he gets castrated. We see that. So really, all the gore and blood and nastiness is really pushed to the third act. Other than the very little that we get earlier on, like the jungle trap or the guy getting eaten by an alligator. So there is enough to kind of pull us along. If it was any other movie, it would just feel like a slow, boring flick. But this actually has a decent story, because another plot thread throughout the film is that her brother and Stacy Keach are both kind of at odds with each other. They both get the idea that they're there for hidden reasons, so that helps drive it forward. But the biggest thing would be Keach's acting and Sergio Martino's direction. It looks great, especially the interior shots of this cave where the cannibals are. It's one of the better shot cannibal flicks, especially of this period. Uh, there's even a scene with a little person who is just poking at Castanelli with a spear. Castanelli's able to kick him, and when he falls, he hits his head on a rock. His brain is exposed. And yeah, it's kind of a glitchy, shoddy sequence because it's like he falls backwards, and then it just like quick cuts, and he's already like, but whatever. And then he just goes at everyone with the spear, grabs her, make it down to the water. A couple more pop out at him. He kills them, then they just float down the river on a log. End of movie. There is a couple silly scenes, like when you can tell they're sitting still on this bamboo raft, but it looks like the crew is just flinging water at them. Supposed to give off the idea that they're in these rapids, but if you look around, you can tell they're sitting still. So there is some low budget kind of a silliness throughout, and it is more of this jungle adventure movie, but that's really what a cannibal flick is. Other than Holocaust and Ferox, you really are just kind of waiting for our characters to either get to the cannibalistic tribe or just get captured by them. But I would say this one's definitely the most entertaining, well shot, well acted, and the best story. Aside from ones that you go into to just be blown away by some grisly cannibal stuff. But this could also be. I do agree with the Maniacs review of this, where this could be a good beginner one along with Cannibal Apocalypse, because it's not too gratuitous across the board. The animal cruelty is more animals eating animals. It's not too gory, not too graphic. Even some of the sexual assault is either implied or they don't get to actually do it before they're stopped. It's definitely kind of a stepping stone one, but it's definitely one of the better made ones, and that's all owed, well, not all owed to Sergio Martino, because it is well acted. I'll say well acted by everyone, but Stacy Keach is definitely the crown jewel actor of this film, and I do think it would have been better, even though I do like Claudio Castagnoli, if they just didn't have his character, or if he was just kind of a one-off, like maybe if he stayed with the tribe that he was already with, and Keach was able to advance to the ending, kind of get what he went there for, because he is the most captivating, best actor, and the most interesting character. So yeah, it's definitely not, don't go into it thinking it's going to be another Cannibal Holocaust or Cannibal Ferox. Like, go in to be totally shocked or disturbed. I did forget to mention, now that's this late in the video, people are going to tell me in the comments, but this was on the DPP's list number 2 of video nasties. So this is one that was not prosecuted, but still seized, or it was unsuccessfully prosecuted. But yeah, this is definitely one of the better made cannibal flicks as a movie, and I'm glad I finally got to see it. Glad I didn't just have to keep this one forever. Again, that's cut by like 10 minutes. And this is a Diamond Entertainment. Just go ahead and spring for either Blue Underground or, because people need the best of everything, just get the Kino Lorber Blu-ray. Because people see DVDs as ancient fossils now. But that is Sergio Martino's Mountain of the Cannibal God, and thank you for watching.